Good afternoon. My name is Christian East today. I'm the Managing Director of Hot Chili Limited. We're a large copper gold developer focusing on large-scale projects on the Chilean coastline over in Latin America. And I have great pleasure in providing an update on our world-class Cortadera discovery and what the company is active on this year as we see a real resurgence in the copper sector. Well, firstly, it's very exciting to see copper reaching new all-time highs. Each day we see that copper price being one of the key leaders in the metal markets, currently sitting at $4.28 against an all-time high of $4.54, really being driven by a strengthening demand fundamental put up against a increasing tightening of supply. And one of those key aspects of the copper sector, which is really driving that supply issue, is the fact that the copper sector globally is finding it very difficult to discover large-scale new copper projects. So Hot Chili was able to pull off a deal to secure the Cortadera private discovery back at the beginning of 2019, sitting immediately next to our Productora project. And then since the drilling commenced at Cortadera on the Chilean coastline in 2019, we've been able to successfully produce one of the only two major copper discoveries to be put out in the world since Cu-Aul was discovered in 2014. So it's great to see the drill rigs turning this year with 3 drill rigs on the ground and looking to lift that initial resource estimate we've just put out in October. So at the moment, Costa Fuego, which is the combined development play on the Chilean coastline controlled by Hot Chili, boasts almost 3 million tonnes of copper and 3 million ounces of gold contained in a resource base, making us the largest ASX copper resource base outside of a major mining company. Market capitalisation of the company has grown significantly over the past 2 years, currently sitting at around 4.5 cents a share, and on a market capitalisation of just less than $140 million Australian. Just looking more in detail at Costa Fuego, these are the assets of Costa Fuego. This is a low altitude play with the Pan American Highway running right through the middle of it, all compatible metallurgy, and most importantly, in the copper development pipeline, this is a clean concentrate project, meaning that the projects themselves have no arsenic. The combined asset brings together our original large-scale Productora resource and pre-feasibility completed together with this new world-class discovery in Cortadera sitting 14 kilometres away. Costa Fuego already sits in one of very few rare development settings for large-scale copper projects globally. We're at low altitudes, as I said, but we're also in the heart of a very rich infrastructure position, 50 kilometres from port. If we look at the resource base of Hot Chili in the pecking order of global scale copper projects, the largest in the world that are not controlled by major mining companies, we can see that the blue projects and grey projects are the projects controlled by the North American space. The ASX does not play in the large copper space, and so very quickly with that resource, which has matched Rio Tinto's Winu discovery in the same time frame, Costa Fuego has been really, I guess, springboarded into the #1 position for the large-scale copper developers on the ASX. We're sitting at about 750 million tonnes, with around about the 4th highest grade for a large-scale resource in this grouping that you're looking at, with an average grade that's very close to the average grade of production globally for the copper space. So this project, as I've said, is a project that's just joined these rankings. It's not stalled. It doesn't have arsenic issues or high altitude issues that mean that a lot of these projects have been stalled for those very reasons for quite some time. Some recent research taken from AUCU Consulting publicly, just looking at this value gap between some of the North American peers with very similar sized large scale resource bases, upper 2-tier resource bases, just trying to break into the tier 1 category of 5 million tonnes of contained copper. We see really a large disconnect between the ASX valuations and those of our North American peers, highlighted there in red. This is very apparent when you look at the valuation ranges being ascribed to very similar resource bases from circa 600 million to 1 billion tonnes at very similar grades. We see that the ASX value gap is certainly open between copper equities here and copper equities over in North America. So as the largest scale copper resource on the ASX, we have a very exciting opportunity this year as we look to position this resource base to a larger scale, and that is aiming to bring that over 1 billion tonnes. We look at the key attributes of Costa Fuego, outside of it being in a top 3 mining country, this low altitude, no arsenic aspect to the project really sets it aside from those other large projects in the development pipeline. That critical infrastructure and infrastructure access, and most importantly, being one of the only juniors in Chile to hold a water license, which was just approved at the end of last year, together with our ESG fundamentals, makes Hot Chili certainly one of the great opportunities of the copper sector in this push towards developing new large-scale assets. Just looking quickly at Cortadera, and this is the project which has really elevated the company over the past 2 years. We put that maiden resource out of some 450 million tonnes at 0.5% copper equivalent from surface. We put that out in October last year. We have a very aggressive drilling program targeting a major resource upgrade towards the end of this year. Cortadera has consistently over the past 2 years produced some of the world's best copper gold drilling intersections. We now have 7 of those drilling intersections recorded. Just a few weeks ago, another 813 metre intercept from 50 metres depth. And really, this is the footprint that's giving us this real chance to establish one of the very few tier 1 assets not controlled by a major, putting it into the hands of Hot Chili. So with those 3 rigs operating, we're mainly focusing on resource growth, but we're also looking at drilling a lot of our large new growth potential at areas such as Cortadera North, 2 kilometres north of the Cortadera discovery window. This is what Cortadera looks like. Fantastic porphyry, 2.3 kilometres long, over 1 kilometre vertical ore column, with the emergence of a high-grade core from mid-2019, which we've been rapidly growing. So it's at 100 million tonnes at the moment, and we're looking to make that a lot larger as we focus on that being a real opportunity below the open pit potential that we'll be joining together with Productora. These are some of the recent drill holes over the last few weeks that have gone out. You can see we're really trying to infill the high-grade core and build that out outside of our approach to expand the limits of the porphyry. Some of those new drill holes that will be coming in have certainly seen some very wide intersections, and no doubt we'll continue to see some very exciting news flow coming out of the 3 main porphyries, which we're actively drilling at the moment. One of the other peers in our space that has been a very, very successful company, SolGold, in their Alpala or Cascabel discovery over in Ecuador. That discovery really didn't start hitting its straps until about 600 metres depth, where their high-grade core emerged. It's the very same zone that Hot Chili has now just commenced drilling this year. So we're really looking to replicate some of the very exciting numbers that we've got out of that high-grade core on the main porphyry at Cortadera. If we look at these projects in terms of sheer scale, these really are the titans of the copper sector and soon to become the titans of the gold sector. Newcrest is one of Australia's, or is Australia's largest gold producer, and really the engine room behind Newcrest Mining, $40 billion company on the ASX. is the large-scale Cadia operations, which are extracted at depth using bulk tonnage block cave techniques and producing, amazing annual cash flows at some of the lowest cost base in the industry. So on a one-to-one scale, you can see the type of project which Hot Chili is playing with. As I mentioned, we're also looking to bring forward some of our large growth targets at Santiago Z and Cortadera North, and really continue to consolidate this opportunity to have one processing facility driven by multiple large-scale assets on the coastline of Chile. So this year, on top of the drilling and the resource growth that we're looking to put in, it's not just about positioning ourselves towards one of the very few or only tier one assets outside of the hands of a major in the copper sector this year with that major resource upgrade at Cortadera, but we're also looking to advance our development studies. We already have a combined pre-feasibility on Productora. We're looking to officially kick off our combined pre-feasibilities and scoping studies on open pits and undergrounds for Costa Fuego this year. And most importantly, between now and the end of next year, we'll look to make our final payment on Cortadera, which allows us the opportunity to own 100%, one of the only two major discoveries globally in the copper space of the past 6 years. So I hope you enjoy the forthcoming news flow for the company. Thank you very much.